What's up guys, this video is brought to you by Substack. As in, the idea that I got for this video is brought to you by Substack, not like a sponsorship or anything. There is an abundance of knowledge problem that I see within the internet. Knowledge that can help you become the best version of yourself and push you to become someone you didn't even think was possible. Literally from TikToks, YouTube videos, you name it. Instead of you having to read 100 pages of a book you don't care about in order to get 2 or 3 gems, you could literally just watch a 1-minute video and call it a day. But then it got me thinking, we are living in one of the most lost generations out there. Even with this abundance, availability of knowledge that can push you into a certain direction and make you find your purpose. Like, why does it actually feel like our elders are more in tune with themselves than we are? And they had to read those 100-page books, you know what I mean? Surely if we really had the knowledge in order to make ourselves better, we would excel. But that's not the case here. This is without taking into consideration the dark side of emotional intelligence, a topic I'm gonna be diving into within this video. What's up 900 family, it's Mendzztv bringing you back 900 thoughts from the dome to your phone. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and if you're back again and you ain't subscribed, let me just crawl through your TV. I'm playing, but make sure you like, comment, and let's get straight into the video. Now, seeing as the topic is emotional intelligence, I think it's important for me to outline really what I mean by that. And in my books, emotional intelligence really just means to be able to coordinate your own emotions and not be consumed by them. Ability to recognize, oh, I'm angry, but that doesn't mean I need to go and do something angry. That means I need to neutralize my emotion and understand where it's coming from. A very vague example, but it's important. The reason it's important is because it can make or break your social and personal life. I've seen so many people in my life that have such good emotional intelligence and managing their emotions to the point where you could say something crazy to them and they're just gonna reply calmly while still standing up for themselves. Or people who can actually sit down and unpack their traumas rather than running away from them and letting their traumas consume them. And trust me, I've been there. Someone like me who literally has books on shelves about emotional intelligence, I'm still like that. I still get angry when I think about a girl that I messed with back in the past and, you know, a situation, other than just moving on from it and recognizing my emotions and not letting it consume me. The problem we have in today's society is the fact that we are too obsessed with information. Terminologies, the theories, and all the quick fixes, we're too obsessed with it. So much so that we forget the main component to healing, which is experience. See, it's all good to say that you watch some videos about trauma and how to overcome your anxiety and build confidence, but are you actually applying that within your day-to-day? And I think the reason people ignore that action so much and get so consumed by the media is because we live in a new era of people displaying their self-improvement online. Now people have hopped on a bandwagon of just consuming it and taking it as perceived self-improvement within their own life. But make no mistake, you're not actually taking steps within your own life, you're taking steps in someone else's life. The stories that people tell, the help that they give you is only from their life. It's from their experience and what they went through. All the things they're telling you are from their perception and their context, which is why context is so important when dealing with emotional intelligence. Context of your situation, what you're dealing with, your own childhood trauma, and why you may be the way you are, why your emotions may be so high on a certain spectrum and lower on another spectrum. These are things that unfortunately a book cannot tell you. You really have to do the work yourself. Really sit down with yourself, and I mean really sit down and meditate, journal even, and realize where these emotions are coming from and try to help yourself within the next situation. These things sound simple, but anyone who's tried that normally finds that scrolling through a TikTok thread is a lot more enjoyable. But why is that, you asked? Give me my watch time, bitch. The reason it's very difficult to develop this sense of emotional intelligence practically because of the prejudices set in society to restrain both men and women. A study that I will link below found that women had a significantly more easier time at expressing their emotions, being more vocal within communication, and displaying emotions than men. However, it wasn't the results of women being more expressive that interested me. What spoke to me more was the explanation itself. The study compared the women's ability to be more expressive and be more emotionally regulated to the men's ability to handle fatigue and adjust to new situations without discomfort, which had me thinking about the way we're raised, the way men are raised to avoid discomfort and to be thorough within any given challenge, which could be linked to the way that men are viewed as the provider and are raised to become providers within their family. Men have been raised to dismiss their emotions entirely to solidify their chances of survival. This is also fueled by today's social media with a lot of motivational gurus and red pill centrics. I'm referencing my last video. But it's true, the red pill centrics are really at it, bro. They're manipulating men into thinking that you just have to dismiss your emotions and stay strong all the time and you'll just get through life in that way, which inevitably is the reason why it's so hard for men to be vocal about their emotions, because you spend so much time away from them. Coming to them and actually being familiar with them is like making a new friend, for example, exploring a side of yourself that you never knew was there in the first place. You never knew was safe for you to actually explore, for you to show to other people without being rejected and being outcasted by society that frames you as someone who's supposed to be tough and solid. But then you must also ask, what about the women that are raised in a similar way? Women that don't have the opportunity to think that they're going to be saved by a knight in shining armor, and women that genuinely have to thrive in life without any sort of protection, or just a woman that doesn't want a man in the first place. Well, that still doesn't ignore the fact that within society, women are more accepted when they show their emotions. It's more of a feminine trait. A lot of therapists are women, and that's not by coincidence. A lot of the percentages of people that study psychology are women, and that's not a coincidence. But even then, the dark side of emotional intelligence still thrives within women in these sectors of life. Racial stereotypes and cultural norms affects the way that emotional intelligence can be perceived. Take two women that have exceptional levels of emotional intelligence, are confident and vibrant and just positive. There really shouldn't be anything wrong with both of them being like this until you add a pinch of race. It may be more acceptable for a white woman within society to express that confident, assertive personality trait. Say a colored person did the same thing and it's a whole different story. It's perceived differently. Instead of it being perceived as confidence, it's perceived as arrogance. A little bit too cocky. You need to stay in your lane, perhaps. Within Asian cultures, being feminine means to be quiet and listen to the leader within the household or your community. In the same way, being confident and being loud could be seen as being rude within Asian culture and could get you disowned entirely. These rules would have worked about 30, 40 years ago, but we don't live in those times no more. This leads to a lot of women within society not being able to express and open their emotions in a healthy way. So I guess doom scrolling and the self-help videos really was the best option. No! Continue thriving and continue to try to understand yourself. I didn't mention these points in order to make you scared of expressing yourself and actually having experience with emotional intelligence. I stated these points to make you understand why you may feel stuck. Why you may feel stuck even though you have a plethora of knowledge at your fingertips, and the restrictions that are within society that holds you back if you let them. The experience really is the best teacher within emotional intelligence, so avoiding your emotions is a gateway to misery within that. How do you think your aunties and uncles did it, bro? They didn't have the internet and all these videos to help them. They didn't have a video titled why you're stuck or what's the purpose of life. They had to find that shit themselves, bro. In fact, studies did find that elderly people did score higher with emotional intelligence than younger people of today's generation. This was highly tied down to the fact that they have better self-regulation methods. How do you think they got those self-regulation methods? Through experience, through knowing what ticks them, what makes them angry, and how to really calm themselves down, how to let themselves still be positive even through life's worst, darkest moments. Great example of experience being lived with emotional intelligence and not just emotional information is XXXTentacion. I always struggle to say his name. I remember when I first saw X on my timeline and he was just some dude making some grungy type of music on SoundCloud. He also got allegations of beating his girlfriend, and I just thought, damn, this guy's a sucker and he's gonna be yesterday's news in no time. However, when he came out of prison, he turned into a completely different person. Through interviews, he talked about how he read a lot of books within his time within prison that surrounded emotional intelligence and manifestation. X didn't just read though, he actually implemented and reflected on his life, reflecting on times where he might have reacted in a rash way and not really understood where it came from, allowing him to self-regulate in a better way within the future. future. Interviews and songs he mentions how he was abusive to people, not because he hated them, but because he hated himself. The emotional information that he gained within prison allowed him to gain that insight, but without him actually taking action to be more vulnerable with people and actually experience love within himself, take those actions to experience love within himself, he would have never realized that, and he would have never came to the conclusion that it's okay. Instead, he would have continued that cycle of self-hatred within himself and others. The emotional intelligence can be dark. It can be an endless rabbit hole of you just scrolling through videos, feeling lost and burnt out, and not feeling like anything's working within your life. Not knowing how to manage yourself, feeling like your anxiety is getting the best of you, feeling like your anger gets the best of you within arguments, and just not being a cool dude, you know? Not saying to stop reading the books, God forbid I'd never say that, but I'm saying to actually think. Think in situations, think before you say something, think before you do something. This life really is a telltale series, man. Like, your reactions to situations, no matter how small or how large, can really dictate where the next situation will go, the next situation, and so on and so on and so forth. Having good emotional intelligence practically will save you from a lot of dread, I promise. But without further ado, it's your boy Mendzztv, bringing you back 900 thoughts from the dome to your phone. I'm gonna go eat and then edit this video. I'm out, man. Love.